What's up, you beautiful people? It is Grizzly FOG. Welcome to another episode of Ring Talk. Uh, the podcast where I come in, talk about wrestling, sometimes music, some other things like that. You can listen online, anchor.fm/Grizzly FOG. Shout out to the other people who've been listening on other platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which I just found out like almost 20 minutes ago that my episodes were being distributed on there automatically. So, good thing I had to post the RSS feed to there or anything like that. But yeah, just listen to me on anchor.fm or, I got like 7 other platforms that I'm on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, other things like that. So, episode 3. Last week, I talked about the death of Hana Kimura and how Twitter affected that, and how what things and consequences and stuff comes out of that sort of thing and sort of nature. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's right now currently my most listened podcast, and I just thank any and everyone that took the time out to listen to that podcast, because I took some thoughts and I thought about a good amount of things to put into that podcast. There's a whole lot of circumstances that arise from that situation. So just thank you to anybody who listened to that episode 2. Episode 1, thank you for whoever listened to that one. Although it don't really have a lot of plays that I've seen on Anchor, I just thank anybody who decided to take the time out of their day just to listen to what I got to say, my opinion, because I know you really don't have to, and I appreciate it so much. Starting this podcast thing has been helpful for me. It's been a good experience so far. Hopefully I could get some guests on here. I have a few in mind that I want to get on this podcast, but I will plan that out later down the line. Now, episode 3, I have to talk about some things that has been on my mind, and basically, like one news tidbit from this week, and I talk about the state of the nation right now. I know this is a wrestling podcast. I know this is like, wrestling/music podcast and stuff like that. So, outside world news is kind of different from the topic and the genre of this podcast. But what has happened this past 24 to 48 hours has been so much on my mind that I need to speak about it. And it is very serious that I get my thoughts and opinions out on this topic. But first, before I go into that, as you know, I have new music coming out. You may or may not know, check SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Grizzly FOG. I'm also on streaming sites as well. Just search Grizzly FOG. My music will be up there. Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, wherever you listen to your music. I'm up there rapping. So, yeah, that's also greatly appreciated. I know you don't have to listen to my music and stuff like that, but that's also, appreciated. And I love everybody who takes their time out of their day just to listen to whatever I had to say, whether it be rapping or whether it be this podcast right here. So the first topic I want to talk about is like a learning experience for me, and seeing it from a different standpoint. As you may know or may not know, I have a Teespring store called Hard to Earn, which is at teespring.com/stores/hard-to-earn. And so the death of Hana Kimura hit me hard, like I said in my last podcast, and I just wanted to put out a tribute design, something that other people can buy and cherish the memory of Hana Kimura over. But as I realized in 24 hours time, I realized I was wrong for doing that, and I don't know what went into the thought process for me releasing that design, but the thought of releasing something too soon never went into that, and I don't know why, and for anybody who was offended or was mad or angry about the design that I put up, or anything like that, I truly apologize. Um, now isn't the time to sell any merch like that. Especially when this is like fresh. It's only been 1 week, like literally 1 week kind of marks the day of her death. A couple hours ago, this is like was it 5:30, 6 o'clock recording this. Like a couple hours ago, around 2:30 was a week since he posted those tweets, those horrifying tweets. And later on that night we found out about her death. And I'm glad that I took it down off the store and I didn't make any profit off it. It seems like I don't feel like I was gonna make any profit off it anyway, since the store is like brand new and I still have yet to learn how to market merchandise and stuff like that. So everything right now I'm doing is a learning experience, and that was like basically one of my first learning experiences, is to never sell merch of anyone who has died recently too soon. This probably is a merch item that I probably will put back on the store, but I don't know when. I just don't know when. I don't even know if I'll ever put it back up on the store at this point in time. I just been watching. I've been on like Redbubble and Teespring myself, and I was up there on a Saturday or Sunday myself and looking at these designs, and I'm like, damn, people work so damn fast, but we never know, is it just them profiting off her death, or are they selling some of the proceeds or all the proceeds to charity and stuff like that? And that has to go into the thought process of doing some of these designs that you do. Sometimes you have to get special permission from somebody to sell a certain design. Sometimes you have to think about where the money is going to. Sometimes you have to think if it's right or wrong for you to sell anything like that. And like I said, just people on like I said, Redbubble and Teesprings has popped up out with rest in peace on the Kimura designs out of nowhere. I was just like, damn, like people work fast, but then you really think about it, like it's kind of too early to do this stuff, and I didn't think about that when I was making a design and putting it up on the store. So this, obviously the design is down. Like it only stayed up for 24 hours, and there was no profit made off it, except for me, because I only brought a shirt for myself, and the $9 whatever profit that I made off it is going to be rounded up to $10, and it's going to be donated to charity, some sort of charity, most likely for like a mental health charity, or I don't know, but it is going to charity. I'm not going to even touch that and put it into my account for my benefit. So and also this topic goes kind of hand in hand, because man, I've been seeing a lot of magazines being sold. She's on the cover of Weekly Pro Wrestling this week or a month, and it's just been crazy from people from Japan going on eBay selling it for, at first I seen it for $20 plus $20 shipping, which is $40, and it's kind of like kind of don't want to buy it for that price, but if you have to, you have to. But then I seen like few magazines left, and then they bumped the price to like $40 plus $20 shipping. I'm just like, that's $60 for a magazine that costs 565 yen, which equates to $5.30 USD, and it just put me in it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like I understand people want this magazine, and people are willing to pay whatever for it, but it just, I don't know, man, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And now I look back in hindsight, taking that design down, I'm kind of glad that I did, because I didn't want to portray the wrong message, selling one's merch when they're deceased. And I just did it all out of love, but I didn't take into consideration the message that I would be portraying to the consumer and fans, and they would look at it as a different way instead of the way that I looked at it. And now that I understand that, I'm glad that I took it down. So that's just something that I wanted to get out of the way real quick. Also, another thing, like wrestling Twitter, I don't know. It has been deteriorating since Sunday or Monday, after Hana's death. And it was just like 48 hours ago, people was like, rest in peace, be kind to one another, talk to one another, stuff like that. Then they went to this whole twister spiral of hate and stuff like that. You had the Alexa Bliss situation with JD from NY, and I feel like people was kind of right for calling him out on his BS and stuff like that. But you hear people talking about, well, he was talking about people calling his parents and stuff, sending death threats, and geez, like that's crazy. I wouldn't be the person to do that. And I don't really care about the criticism and backlash that he's getting, but to go that far and stuff like that, it's crazy. Finding one's personal information, their contact information, their information about the parents, and sending death threats. And I'll just speak my piece and go away. That's that. Like, dude, if I feel like you said something wrong and you out of line for it, I'm gonna call you out on it, and that's it. I'm not going to try to slander you further and try to bring harms further and stuff like that. But Jesus, wrestling Twitter has been crazy. It's crazy how it was more than 2 people's deaths, actually 3 people's deaths last week. Then after like Saturday or Sunday, just went right back to the same old stuff. And it's kind of crazy and then kind of sad at the same time to see people kind of going back on their word. But that's terrible, and it shouldn't happen. But I feel like that's probably going to be another topic I'll get into down the line later on and stuff like that. I really want to speak my mind about what is going on in America right now. I feel like I've been seeing this type of situation for so long as I've been living life. And I remember when I was a teenager, and the whole Trayvon Martin situation, and then that was big, seeing that. And it just made me mad as not only as a teenager but as a black man, seeing that and how that went down and everything. And also on what happened to Eric Garner. It's just ridiculous to see that history is still repeating itself to this very day. Rest in peace to George Floyd, who was attacked by a Minneapolis police officer. God took him into custody. It was clearly shown on video that he wasn't resisting arrest or anything like that. But they still took this man and put him into custody, put him in handcuffs. He's not doing anything to the police officers. There was like 4 police officers there, and one of them just had him on the ground and just had their knee on his neck for a good 8 minutes. And it's been reported that he was unresponsive for almost a good 3 minutes. And I'm like everybody else, man. Like, I'm just tired of seeing this happen so often. There's been a lot of people talking on Twitter, some of them talking reckless, and some of them speaking the absolute truth. And like, I'm just tired, dog. Like, I've seen this happen. I see it's happen every year. It seems like it's happened every other month or every couple of months that a black person is shot down or beaten up or affected by police brutality, and I'm just tired of seeing it. Like, it's crazy how much a police officer can get away with attacking and harming and killing a person, and not only that, a black person at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just frustrating because, like, you have one police officer who has the knee on somebody's neck for almost 8 minutes, and the dude has been not been like unresponsive for like 3 minutes, and like you have 3 other police officers right there with that other police officer who's doing that act, and they're not doing a damn thing about it. They're just sitting there watching what's going on, and they're not thinking through the thought process. Okay, should I pull him off? Should I get him to stop? So I, stuff like that. They just sat there and watched one of their own kill a black man for no reason. No reason at all. The dude wasn't armed. He wasn't resisting arrest. He wasn't doing anything that warrant the police to attack him like that. And it's crazy to see that. It's like, I know there's good cops and I know there's bad cops, but where are the good cops that are willing and able to stop the black cops? Stop the bad cops and check them on whatever they're doing wrong. You feel me? Like, where are they at? Like, it seems to be no trace of that anywhere in any police precinct. And it's like, why? Why would you just stand there and let your fellow officer, your fellow partner in crime, do something heinous as that? So, it's a good thing that the officer in question was arrested and charged. He got charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. Honestly, I feel like the charge should be bumped up to second-degree murder. Some people are calling it for first-degree murder. I seen all that on Twitter, and I'm like, I feel like it should be more major charges, but I'm guessing they just stuck to whatever can stick for right now. But I feel like that third-degree murder charge should be bumped up to second-degree murder. And it's been dark this past. It was already dark this past week, but this week it just took the fucking cake. Excuse my language. It just took the cake like crazy. You got protests, and rightfully so. Because I'm just tired of seeing this happen over and over and over again. What is we as people going to do about it? So these riots are happening in Minnesota and other places. At that, I think it was, I don't know if there was some happening here in VA, but it's just terrible. It's terrible to see. I'm getting sick of it as an individual, being black, and I'm just getting sick of it, really. Like, I've seen a couple of celebrities speak their mind, and some of them haven't been really haven't really been smart about the whole thing, really. And said some comments that had me like, are you really saying this? Who was it, Shamik Moore or somebody, who votes Miles and Spider-Man? He's been off the wall, dude. Like, I can't believe why I've been seeing him tweet and heard. Like, he really sat out here and said that Rosa Parks should have called a cab owned by a black business. Like, do you understand why she did what she did? She did what she did for us as black people to have more rights and more advantages as people. She didn't just get on a white bus just to get on there. As he did it for a reason, and I mean his comments just had me flabbergasted. Really, like you really on IG live talking this, like think about I mean, do your family share the same opinion, or do your friends share the same opinion, or what? Like it's an issue that needs to be addressed. This police brutality is crazy, and it's sad to see. It has to be stopped by any means, and if if it has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed, and people are not going to wait for somebody to address it. They're going to speak their mind, and that's what people have been doing. They've been speaking their mind. They've been rioting, looting stores, hopefully for the right reasons, hopefully looting the big box stores and the the other major retailers other than the small businesses and black owned businesses that's been in town. And I don't know, like hopefully everybody's just doing the right thing as far as that. It's crazy. This nation's been crazy, and this year has been crazy. 2020 got me done. The streets are mega done. They've been done since January, since Kobe died, since COVID-19 came, since everything got shut down. Since everything. Since Shad died and Hannah died, and everything's just been terrible. This is like one of the most terrible years I ever endured in life. I thought 2016 was bad because that was the year that I ended up homeless. That was the year that I lost my grandfather. That was the year that my grandmother was put in rehab because she had strokes, dealing with the death of my grandfather. I was in a dark place between 2016 and 2018. I thought, like, dang, this is like the worst years of my life. But 2020 showed me something different. Like, you got all these killings going on. You got COVID-19 going on. All these deaths deaths from people who we thought was going to live a long life. Is just depressing, and it's terrible. And I like the fact some of the wrestlers have been speaking up about it. Some of the wrestlers have been donating to funds and stuff, like Liv Morgan and Selena and all that stuff. And it's just terrible. It's terrible. All the racism and the hate that's going on right now is terrible. And hopefully we'll get justice one day. But till that day comes, we need to start fighting back as one and stop letting this police brutality shit slide for real. Like it's terrible, and it's like a very bright stain on the nation that is the United States of America. Terrible words by people, terrible words by the president, calling people thugs and saying, when looting happens, shooting happens, and it's just stupid. Like you talking about using your power to shut down social media, but yet you going up there talking reckless and talking all that good shit. It needs to stop for real. People like John Boyega, man, he was talking his mind, and I loved what he was talking about on IG Live. Like I agree with him. Like tired of it. Fuck whoever ain't for the stopping of police brutality, and it's wrong. Like it's terrible. What the police in general have done to us as black people. And like I said, I know there's some good cops out there, but there's the bad cops. And I haven't seen any good cops stop any bad cops yet. Or I haven't seen any cops and other cops in general stop a cop from doing what they doing and telling them that it's wrong. Like those 3 police officers that was with the cop that had the knee on George Floyd. It's terrible. Real terrible. situation. My homeboy Jupiter, he was telling me it feels like the nation is ending, and it kind of do feel like it. It feels like 2020 is. I don't feel like we're gonna make it out of 2020, man. It's like it's so crazy that what's happened this year alone has been so draining, so depressing, and stuff like that. It seems like the writer. We always have this joke talking about the writer. They got new writers for 2020. Well, those damn writers, it seem like they trying to make a series finale. Like it seems like the world is just ending, and it's just sad and depressing to see. It's crazy. It's real crazy. It's terrible to see, and look, I mean that's my thoughts on that. I've just been sick of what I've been seeing on Twitter and Facebook for these past few days. Some other people speaking their mind and talk about it's not a race thing. You tell me it's not a race thing, but it seems like every time I see a police officer attack and brutalize somebody, they're always black. I don't see like any other color lately be attacked or brutalized by a police officer other than a black person, and it's just terrible. So that leaves us with my third and final topic. This one is a opinion that I actually addressed in episode 1, but I have to go back and address it again and get my thoughts on it. So let's see, Tuesday, right? Had an off day on Tuesday, so I've been out and about in the city, been chilling, stuff like that. So I've been checking Twitter, and I remember I seen something about somebody getting injured on Raw taping for next week's episode and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh God, that's terrible, and dots start running through my mind, and I'm just like, God, please don't let it be like Oscar or Kyrie or somebody in the women's division, because Jesus Christ, God knows. But sure as hell enough, we got another situation involving Nia Jax. So what apparently happened was Nia Jax and Kairi Sane fought on this week's Raw that's coming up. That was taped on Tuesday of this week, and they had a match. So during the match, they did this outside spot with a steel chair, and what was reported was Nia threw Kairi into the steel chair. I mean, not the steel chair, I'm sorry, the steel steps. Threw Kairi into the steel steps, and Kairi got busted open with a cut on her forehead. So bad that the match had to be stopped for medical attention to Kairi. Kairi insisted that she was fine after, and what was reported that they got back into the ring, did the finish spot, and that was that. Twitter blew up. Well, not exactly blew up, but wrestling on Twitter had to speak their mind about Nia Jax again, and we've been over this plenty of times, numerous amount of times, how bad of a worker Nia Jax is, how she doesn't care about anybody's well-being, how she always seems to injure somebody whenever she fights somebody in the ring, or she doesn't know how to wrestle or stuff like that. The opinion that I stated on episode 1, when I talked about Kairi and Nia fighting, and it was the match where they had the spot where Nia threw Kairi into the turnbuckle, and it just looked all bad, and the way Kairi landed her head and neck on that turnbuckle just looked terrible and stuff like that. Oh God, Jesus. I remember I told somebody in one of my chats, it's probably going to get to the point where we had to wrap Kairi Sane up in bubble wrap, and so we ready to go, just kind of joking, but oh Jesus, man. The same sentiment I said in episode 1 seems true today. Pull Nia Jax aside, since you guys are performing at the Performance Center. Just set her aside, be like, look, we have to rectify the situation of you being this type of worker. It seems like everybody's been saying, they've been thinking you always harm your competitors and stuff like that. What I said was they just had to pull her aside to train, get some more, get some basically, freshen up on some skills and try to rectify the situation. I just think that Nia Jax has, like I said in episode 1, she has so much power. She's a big girl. She's she's huge, and she has so much power that she could have, but it's just controlling the power that she has. She has shown. I feel like she has shown why people are saying whatever they're saying about her on Twitter or whatnot. Because she's been how many years she's been doing this? What is it, 5 or 6 years now? She came in like 2015, 2016. It seems like I feel like it seems like the best person that she works with is Asuka, because they worked so many matches in NXT, and when Asuka got the Raw, and they had their matches there where they put on some good matches, and basically that's why I feel that Asuka is Nia's best opponent to work with. Now, some of these other wrestlers, I don't know. That's a toss up in the air. But her and Kairi, I don't know. It's just been like Kari's been on the receiving end of some damage, in my opinion. People said she got hurt before wrestling Nia. I don't know if they were referring to the turnbuckle spot and something like that, or I don't know if they were referring to the spot on Raw a couple weeks ago when Nia attacked Kairi backstage and put her into that, what's the name? I don't know what it is. You know what I'm talking about, and stuff like that. But yeah, people looking at this and they're just like, get her off TV now, or Nia is just so terrible. But and then of course you got people like Nia is not gonna. She's not going to get any repercussions because the Rock is her cousin and stuff like that. I'm just like, what I feel like they need to do, like I said in episode 1, just pull her aside, have her train a couple of days out the week. It don't have to be like 5 days a week. Just be like at least 2 or even 3 days a week, and go over the match before Raw. Just be careful out there, or stuff like that. And I don't know. Sometimes I probably see it on both sides of the spectrum, because Kari's been it's tough. Like Kairi has been through some stuff these past few months. Of course, what happened in December at TLC, the concussion, and the tag team ladder match that happened with Charlotte. And Charlotte, I feel like she was being reckless in that match. After, I'm pretty sure Becky told her, hey, she got a concussion, you might want to ease up on her. And then she was like, all right, and she went to go hit a spear and powerbombed her through a damn table, even though she clearly see the dead weight that was laying on her shoulders. But that's another story for another day. Yeah, this situation kind of got Nia some more heat than she already has, and that's just my opinion on it. Like, I gotta do something, like pull her to the side, be like, look, we're gonna have you train, we're gonna have you rectify some situations, rectify some of your power, your strength, do something. Because if you keep on doing this and doing this and doing this, then it's probably is going to turn into a problem. Probably in Western Twitter, probably making it a problem already. Like, you're trying to get WWE to see the bigger picture, but it's whatever. I'm more interested in seeing how they will present it to us next week. I don't know if they will edit it. I don't know if they will keep some of the scenes in there intact. I don't know if Like, say for instance, they showed the steel step spot where Kari got her head thrown into or whatever apparently, and then just go to commercial because, like I said, at that point the match had to be stopped. They had to give medical attention to Kari, and then probably it'll come back on from commercial break saying, that she's fine, and they show the finish to the match. But I don't know, because like I said, once Kari assured them that she was ready to go, she was going to be okay, finish the match, they went right into the ring and did the finish. So I don't know how WWE is going to present it on Raw. I don't know how they will show it. I don't know how they will edit it, but it will be interesting to see because, we can always speculate what happens, but then we watch what happens and be like, oh, well, they overly did this, or, like it could have been a situation where Nia does the thing and throws her, and then Kari will probably have like too much speed and couldn't be, set and get herself set enough to take the spot, and then her head just hits the steel steps, or or it was actually Nia, throwing her into the steel steps, just throwing her head into the steel steps, and Kari couldn't put her hands up in time or something like that, and just get the cut on her forehead and stuff like that. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they present it on WWE television. So, in closing of this podcast, we all, as one nation, has to wake up and realize what's going on. Well, we have to realize what's going on is wrong. We have to realize what's going on should not be tolerated. And we have to realize that we all have to come together to fight whatever is going on, to fight police brutality, to fight for the people that we lost due to police brutality, and all the other stuff. Somebody was saying about Colin Kaepernick and what he was kneeling for. This is exactly the type of situation he was kneeling for. He was kneeling because this whole situation with police brutality happens all the time. It seems like all the time, and it's just terrible to see another life was lost because of a police officer abusing his power and just deciding that that person is wrong and they're not fit to be here in this world, and they decided to just take their life like that. That police officer knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. For 8 minutes, you had your neck on you had your knee on somebody's neck for 8 minutes, and you knew that they was most likely unconscious by the time you was finished. And it just don't sit right with me. I just don't like it. So we have to wake up and realize what's going on in our nation, and we have to fight back. Keep on spreading the positivity and keep on spreading the love, because this nation is so messed up right now. And especially what happened last week again with Hana. Just think about what you're gonna say before you say it. And it's, just spread love to one another and stuff like that. But this, what happened this week is it should not be, it should not be passed on. It should not be ignored. It shouldn't be forgotten about, because we have to make the change right now as people, as black people. We have to make the change to do something about it, because if we don't do something about it and let it sit and let it ride, then it's going to be more terrible than what it is already. So I apologize if I messed up on some things in the podcast. Obviously, like I said, I'm getting better at doing these types of deals. Like I said, again, I thank you for any and everybody who decided to take their time to listen to the podcast, to listen to my opinions and stuff, because I know you don't have to do that, but you did, and I appreciate you for it. I love you for it. Episode 3 of Ring Talk. course, this is Grizzly FOG, and I just hope everybody stays safe out there. If you're rioting or looting anything, please stay safe. I don't want to see anybody get hurt doing this or anything like that. Let everything burn. Show them why this type of deal should happen in the first place. Show them that you're tired of everything that's happening. Show them that you will not back down from this type of situation. And show them that police brutality is wrong on all levels. Show them that you're tired of seeing our black people be abused and be brutalized by police, and just just riot responsibly. No matter if it's a peaceful protest or is this a full-on riot where people just setting stuff on fire, cars, buildings, looting stores, stuff like that. Like I said before, don't touch the small businesses, don't touch the black businesses. Just focus on the big box and the other major retailers, but those two, don't touch it. If you out there listening to this and you out there rioting and looting, just don't touch those two, black businesses, small businesses, because those are the businesses that will benefit the city or whatever that you are from. The other major retailers and the big box retailers, have at it. So, like I said, this is Grizzly FOG. This has been Ring Talk, episode 3. A lot of anger in the nation, and it's sad to see. We all got to come together and show them that this will not be tolerated anymore, and send that message through however you need to, by donating, by rioting, looting, speaking your mind. I feel like everybody has a platform to speak, so I'm using this podcast to speak my mind, use that platform, put it out to the world, let everybody listen to what I gotta say. So with that being said, I'm out. I'll see you in episode 4. Hopefully that'll be in a week or two. And always remember, everyone is different. Everyone is special. Peace.